Grass is the forgiveness of nature, her constant fields trampled with battle, saturated with blood, torn with the ruts of cannon grow green again and carnage is forgotten. Streets abandoned by traffic become grass-grown like rural lanes and are obliterated. Forests decay, harvests perish, flowers vanish, but grass is immortal. Elements, which are its ministers and servants, it softens the rude outline of the world. Its tenacious fibers hold the earth in its place and prevent its soluble components from washing into the wasting sea. It yields no fruit in earth or air. And yet, should its harvest fail for a single year, famine would depopulate the world. In those words, John James Ingalls summed up for all time the infinite importance of grass. The native grasslands of the buffalo and antelope have practically disappeared. But all over our country today, planned grassland farming is rapidly becoming a dominant factor in our agriculture. These well-managed acreages of legumes and forage grasses are out-yielding the natural range many times over. The plant breeders have found new grasses, clovers, and legumes, and are constantly developing new strains of old ones. Until now, there are suitable forage crops for almost every locality and field condition. When grown together in various combinations, they produce better forage and hay, more protein, and larger yields than ever before. Some of them are included in every good crop rotation program. Consequently, they're no longer sown by the winds and wandering birds. Nothing is left to chance, because these grass and legume seeds have become incredibly valuable in this modern grassland farming that uses them in enormous quantities for rotation planting, for grassed waterways, for hay and forage. Harvesting these seeds that keep our country green has become as much a part of farming nowadays as harvesting the seeds of wheat and corn, and for good reason. Saving them is a highly profitable business. Some of the per-acre dollar returns are almost unbelievable. The all-crop harvester made history in this work. It was the first machine to make practical and profitable the saving of forage crop seeds. Up to date, the all-crop harvester has proved time and again its ability to save the seeds of more than 100 different crops. And in the rapid expansion of grassland farming, it's constantly being called on to save new ones. An import from Austria, widely grown in our southeastern states, is crimson clover. Frequently, the whole plant is green and juicy at harvest time. But direct cutting is the only way the seed can be saved without excessive loss by shattering. The all-crops rubber-faced bar cylinder knocks the seed loose from its hull and gets clean seed even from green, mushy straw. This is equally true with the new reseeding crimson clover that perpetuates itself if given a chance. In the southeastern states, it's doing a splendid job of soil improvement and protection and winter pasture, as well as yielding a profitable seed crop, or for self-reseeding where desired. Bird's foot trefoil, or lotus grass, broadleaf trefoil, lotus major, all pasture improvers and soil builders were gradually moved westward from New York State through the Middle West, clear to Oregon and Washington. Bird's foot trefoil got its name from the clusters of long spike-like seed pods that look like crow's feet. These pods ripen and shatter while the plant is still green, so saving the seed is always a problem. Windrowing and harvesting from the swath is the accepted method at present, but baling the hay and running it through the harvester has also proved successful. White Dutch clover, short and close to the ground, is usually mowed and windrowed while slightly on the green side, then picked up. The seed is very valuable, so the crop should be carefully handled in small, thin windrows. This legume is working wonderfully in pasture mixtures from Canada to Florida. Ladino clover has probably created more interest and argument among forage growers than any plant in a decade. It provides high-protein feed through the entire growing season, and it's an excellent mixer with many of the grasses. During the last 6 years, a 1 million-acre increase of ladino in North Carolina has helped to keep the state green. Corn Belt acreage has moved up considerably too. Ladino seed brings an exceptionally high price. This crop, not a particularly heavy one, brought better than $525 an acre in seed, plus pasture and hay for good measure. Ladino is usually windrowed while slightly green, or in the early morning when damp, and frequently rethreshed to get every last seed. But this particular grower found that by going slow and really shaving the ground, he could save as much or more seed than by any other method. That spout above the bin tells its own story, and the seed is worth up to $200 per sack. A legume that's doing a remarkable job of covering our poorer soils, where many of the standard legumes don't flourish, is subclover, so called because it tries to send its burr-like seed into the ground. It's generally planted with a grass to keep it off the ground, then windrow just before it ripens and picked up and threshed by the all-crop harvester. Hop clover, used for pasture mix and soil improvement, thrives from Minnesota to Mississippi. It grows close to the ground and ripens while the weeds are still green. So a hop clover field commonly looks like more weeds than clover. However, except for the dry seeds that stick to the wet weeds, it's quite simple to harvest with an all-crop. The sweet clovers of every variety are profitable seed producers. With sufficient lime, they grow almost anywhere, and their seed is easy to save. The sweet clovers are excellent soil builders and conditioners. Their large, long roots go deep down in even the hardest soils and open paths for moisture to percolate in both directions. This is Madrid sweet in Texas. Alfalfa seed is always valuable. It's not hard to save and can usually be harvested direct. If you select the right variety of alfalfa for your locality and growing season, you'll get several forage cuttings a year. But one good seed crop is worth as much as several cuttings, so it pays to watch carefully and plan accordingly. The belief that seed won't set in your area has been definitely disproved. Give it a chance, like they did in this Wisconsin field. The red clovers, of which there are several, grow well from Canada to the cotton belt. Their seed is valuable, and it's generally saved from the second cutting. The old belief that red clover had to be cured before the seed could be hulled is dying out. It's easy to harvest direct, and you actually get more seed this way than by any other method. Allis clover is a heavy seed producer in widely varying soils all over the Middle West. Yields as high as 12 bushels of seed an acre are common, and you don't have to mow alsike or bunch it in a windrow. Simply harvest it direct. The perennial Serratia lespedeza, much larger than the common lespedeza or Japan clover, is quite bushy when allowed to mature. It's a good soil holder and soil builder and a profitable cash crop. The seed is easy to harvest quickly and brings a high price. When it comes to exceptional soil builders, however, the grasses top them all. The deep roots that sometimes reach down 6 feet or more keep the soil granular and porous. Brome is a fine example. It's a mighty profitable seed producer, too, from Canada through the Corn Belt. But that's not all. It can be pastured up to a month before harvest time, then produce a fine crop of seed, and, because the main plant is still green, pastured again till freeze-up. Crested wheatgrass is the dry land grass that's being used to replace the buffalo and bunch grass of the Northwest Plains. It's hardy and vigorous, starts in early spring, can be pastured for months, then yield a good crop of seed, and then be pastured again clear into the winter. Crested wheatgrass is a prolific seeder, easy to plant and harvest, and the seed commands a high price, so it's wise to save it. Florida, land of sunshine and tourists, may soon become the land of grass as well. New grasses and new strains of old ones are making Florida greener. Bahia grass has been imported from South America. This strain is Pensacola Bahia. It's being used with great success to cover sandy Florida fields, to make year-round pasture, and to build up the organic content of the soil. When pastured and kept short, Bahia mixes with white clover, coastal Bermuda, and other pasture grasses to provide a dense sod. Stock of all kinds thrives on it. Bahia grass is one reason why Florida is becoming a big livestock state. Bahia produces a good crop of seed that's easy to save. It's harvested while the plant is still green, then dried out afterwards, like many other grasses and their seeds. A little farther north, carpet grass, an excellent ground cover and soil conditioner, furnishes splendid pasture and a good yield of seed that's easy to save. Carpet grass requires no windrowing nor special handling. It's as easy to harvest as any grain crop and usually a lot more profitable. From Kentucky to Florida, the whole South is now cashing in on new strains of fescue. This is Kentucky 51. Fescue is a first-rate soil builder that provides choice green pasture most of the year, particularly during the winter and early spring, then produces a crop of easily harvested seed more valuable than any hay or grain crop. And all the while it gives year-round soil protection and improvement. What more can you ask of any plant? The ever-broadening scope of modern grassland farming includes hundreds of other grasses and legumes, and the experimental plots of our nation are overflowing with promising new ones, crops that will keep our country green in the years to come. Saving the seeds of all these grasses and legumes is now becoming all-important and as profitable as saving the customary cash crops.